What's going on, 4th and 5? It's time to do some of these player breakdowns. All these guys coming in from the portal, we need to know what they're bringing to Northwest Arkansas. So we got a whole list of players, and I just want to clear something up. A lot of people are like, oh, no, no more 4th and 5. No, stop that. It was just in reference to the morning show. Hopefully, try to still get something figured out and see if we can get that back for y'all. We'll just have to wait and see. But as far as all the breakdowns and all that good stuff goes, nothing's going to change here at 4th and 5. So let's go and take a look who we're going to break down today. And it's going to be receiver Jamar Hawkins coming in from Memphis. This guy a little bit on the smaller side. You know, you can see in the ticker below 5'9", about 185 pounds, put up some good plays and some good stats for Memphis last year in the role that he had. So we're going to take a look at some film, but I might as well go through a list of a update of players from what we have this morning. Woke up early this morning. So this is what we got. I know that's small. I'll just kind of read through some of these right here. We know the kicker, Max Gilbert, Jasper Parker, running back coming in from Michigan. Another one, a 4-star guy in the portal, Hunter Osborne from Virginia Tech. I think that's Virginia Tech. It may be Virginia. I can't see my eyes. I need some glasses. Obviously, Jamar Hawkins, Jaheim Johnson, Sutton Smith, running back coming in from Memphis as well. Malachi Breland, a offensive lineman coming in from Memphis. Let's keep this going. I didn't have room to fit everybody on here. AJ Hill, that'll be an interesting one. AJ Hill, quarterback. He comes in with experience. You know, now we got a competition in the quarterback room, which is healthy. Very curious to see how much it costs to get him over here. I don't know how long it will be before we get those details. You see Javion Smith, a linebacker, coming over. Long snapper. We got him in there. Christian Harrison and Carlin Jones. I couldn't get them on the graphic. So let's go ahead and now get into the game tape of our guy, Jamar Hawkins. And I'll say first, when I was watching this tape, he first gives me vibes of when I watch portal tape from Raylan Sharp before he got to Arkansas the previous year. And so I think he's a good route runner, could brush up a little things. I know he is on the smaller side, but he's tough. He's physical. I think a little bit more physical than that Raylan Sharp. So I think the ability to break tackles and, you know, have some big time um, chunk plays, he could be an option here. And he's fast. He's a returner as well. We're going to take a look at some returns. So let's go and get into the breakdown. You can see we're going to pick up here. This is in the bowl game. And I wanted to start with a play that kind of showed you how special this guy can be. You're going to see him right here in the slot. Does a great job. 3-step slant, and then I'm just going to run this through. He breaks tackles and he makes plays. Okay, I know you see that play and you get really, really excited. Okay, so I think this is a little combination of a few things. One, he is tough, even though he's on the smaller side. He does not like to go down. You got to love that. Now, NC State, I wouldn't say is top brass when it comes to physicality on the defensive side of the ball. It'll be a little different ball game in the SEC. I think everybody knows that. But just a few things I wanted to talk about before heading into the rest of this breakdown. Let me go ahead and make this just a little bit bigger for y'all. All right, there we go. All right, so you see right here in the slot, mechanics are everything in this type of offense we're going to run. Timing is everything. Perfect 3-step slant. Quarterback's looking right at him. You got to get the ball out now. He does. And now you get in this situation right here. I know it looks like his head's down, but, you know, football, you can look up the top of the little space right there and kind of have an awareness of what's going on the field. I believe he sees this tackle coming, does a great job using the momentum of the defender, trying to stay up, breaking a tackle. And then once again, this is, I think, the difference in the SEC and NC State. Okay, I think an SEC guy comes and makes this tackle right here. So, but still does a great job breaking this tackle. Great job with ball security. I'm going to show that here in just a second. Here's the end zone angle right here. One thing I really do love about in traffic, awareness of where the ball is. Look at that ball tucked up nice and tight. Great job right there. Keep it rolling. And even though it comes out a little bit, I mean, like I said, he's a fast guy. He has to run, but he has really good situational awareness of when somebody gets in proximity. Watch it. Ball high and tight. Gotta love that. How many times have we had receivers or some running backs run, ball loose, boop, pops out? It'll cost you games, and it did for us last year. So that's just one little quick note. I like to give him a little shout out there. Another thing, a returner. I think he will return kickoffs. I don't think you bring a guy like that here and take him away from an element where he could have a big impact in the game. And another thing, ball security, great. I love it. I love it. Great speed, finds the hole, good vision. Now, like I said, 5'9", okay? 5'9", 185 pounds. You got to be tough if you're coming into this league. Watch this right here. Yow! I got to love that. Now, yes, I know it was the kicker, but still, put your shoulder down, get something going, get all juiced up. I love it. Great job by number 9 right there. I'm just going to show a couple more kickoff returns, his ability to see the hole, then get downhill. I love that. Get downhill, get as many yards as possible. All right, let's get to this East Carolina game. He's going to be in the slot right here. So this is the role that I see him in as Arkansas. I still don't know who that number one receiver, that big threat on the outside is going to be. Depends on how healthy some of our guys got last year that were hurt. What CJ Brown has going on. I do think he's an option in the slot as well. We got a lot of options at receiver. Very curious to see how they move this round. I do believe he will be in the slot. Jamar Hawkins, that is. And so this is what you're going to see a lot of. If they play off on him because he has so much speed, he's going to be that guy that just keeps the chains moving. Once again, situations, don't just catch this and tuck. He's very aware. See how his foot kind of dropped right there? He's making sure that he can get away from this first tackle, get upfield, and make plays. Always looking for the extra yard. Like I said, it reminds me a lot of Raylan Sharp's tape when we watched it before he transferred. Here's another situation of him right here in the slot. This is going to be first down, 16 seconds to go. This is why I don't think he'll be that outside type receiver. Okay. They need to get this right here. He runs a nice little comeback. Ball was out just a little bit late. It was like a wheel to the sticks. He's supposed to run to the yard marker right here. I think if you're a little bit bigger receiver, you can use that body, extend those hands, especially right here. This DB is able to get around on this and knock this out, prevent it from being a completion. Here's against good old Arkansas. Obviously, we're going to watch a lot of Arkansas Memphis tape. There's a lot of players from the transfer portal coming in from Memphis that we're going to take a look at. But this is what I worry about when I see 5'9" in the slot with this type of offense that we're going to run at Arkansas, if it's going to mimic what Tim Crampton did it at Memphis. Okay. You need the guys in the slot to be able to be big and physical enough to block on the edge. Okay. I worry about that when it comes to these smaller guys. But right here, not a bad job. I will go back. Let me go back real quick. I don't think this is putting him in the best position. How do I go back one? Can I go back one? Ooh. Just let it be. You see him right there in the slot. All right, I don't want to mess all this up. That's a really tough angle for him to come down and get that block. Very tough angle. But he does a great job getting just enough so they can get on that edge. So you like the ability or you like the willingness to get in there and be physical. I like this guy from what I've seen on tape so far. Another one right here in the slot. This is what we're going to get used to seeing with him. If a guy's plays off, it's going to be a quick boop. If they play up nice and tight, he has the ability to double move and go deep. If you look at his stats this year, they're 41 receptions, 647 yards, 2 touchdowns. And a lot of games, if you go back and look, he had, 1 catch, 2 catch, 1 catch, 3 catch, and then he had like 7, then he had 9. But even in those like 1 catch, 2 catch games, he usually had a really big gain. So he is that deep threat. He could be that momentum spark that an offense needs to get things moving if you find yourself in a spot where things aren't moving very well. So that's my take on this kid. Like I said, not a lot of tape to get into. That was a good, well-rounded spot. There's a couple times where his size did become a factor in the blocking scheme, especially outside when he faced bigger DBs. Well, in the SEC, that's going to be every single week. But I think he can be a very good complementary piece to this offense. I really like him in the ability to have a special teams impact. How long has it been since we've had that? But yeah, I think a good player. Valuation, this is what we're going to do. Is like, how much are we going to pay these guys to come here? I know a receiver, if you're expecting to start, I saw some reports that says it starts around 300,000, 450, 650, 800 for maybe your number one guy. That's what you need to pay. Potentially, your guys are going to play the most. Okay. I would put him on the lower level of that for sure. 300,000, even though I know the times have changed, do I still think that's a lot? But if it's in our $25 million budget, if that is true, I would be okay with that. I really would. Now, if it took him $500,000 to get here, or took him over 600,000 to get here, I would start worrying about talent evaluation again. Now, what he does bring to the table is somebody who is familiar with an offense. I think that was one of Raylan Sharp's biggest assets last year is that he was very familiar with Petrino's offense because he played in it. He was able to teach the other guys and help them move along. Um, I think that is extremely valuable for there to be a coach teaching it and then players to then go to another player like, hey, what was that again? What was that again? Because sometimes I don't want to ask the coach because then they think the coach don't know what they're talking about. So I like him. We'll keep an eye on this guy. I would say the same amount of praise right now because I go back before last season started with Raylan Sharp and Cam Shanks, how everybody was so excited about him. Everybody in the media, these guys right here in the slot, they'd watch them in practice. These guys right here, the season started, we didn't get much. Okay. So I will pump the brakes on that. Would love to watch more spring ball when it gets here, see how those things develop because I think once you watch practice, you can see the little things that may separate them and translate over into actual gameplay in the SEC. Still got to wait and see on that. So I think a solid receiver to have for sure. I think he will be serviceable and make an impact on this offensive side of the ball. Now we got a clip I want to show you right here. Okay, this is something that I saw while looking at the East Carolina game tape. I think when you have a head coach come over, I'm going to talk more about Silverfield now and clock management, in-game decisions. What do you do? I asked a former college coach yesterday what he would do in this situation. And so on this game, East Carolina is up by 4. Memphis has to go score. They cannot settle for a field goal. They got the ball at about the 20-yard line, last drive of the game, 52 seconds left on the clock. So I would say right now, this is where coaches separate themselves of being ready for these in-game situations that don't pop up often. Depending on how the play goes, do you have something ready to go now to make sure that you are as efficient as possible when it comes to clock management? This is very interesting. I'll give my opinion. I'll let you know what a coach said. All right, so 52 seconds on the clock, second and 13. Let's get to the play call first. Okay, so we're gonna run right here, and right now I see we got Hawkins over the ball. He's in the middle. Right. Let me go ahead and bring this up so I can draw some things on here for you. Give me 1 second. Get this minimized. And wow, I cannot grab. There it is. All right. So you got Hawkins right over here in the middle, right? Then you got this tight end sneaking out right here in this shallow area. Neither one of these guys should be options in this play. Okay. You don't have enough time to dump, especially if you're not close to the sidelines. Neither one of these guys should be options to the play. And then you look at where the other option may be. They may be trying to attack deep middle of the field. But if you look at the quarterback's eyes, how is all this backwards nowadays? This thing did an update. If you look at the quarterback's eyes, they're not towards the sideline either. So, very interesting play call right here. 50 seconds left. And this is where the quarterback goes. Okay, so right now, as the ball is in this guy's hands, everybody's yelling, you know what it is, get out of bounds, get out of bounds. And that's what you want that player to do. And as a coach, you would expect your player to do that because you're coaching them that, right? However, I think a coach also needs to have, before they even call this play, they need to have it in their mind. What do we do next if we catch it short of a first down and we don't get out of bounds? They should be thinking, what happens if we catch it past a first down? Do we go up because the clock stops to set the chains and do we spike it? Or do we have our next play ready? What happens if we get out of bounds? Then we can take time. A coach should be thinking about all of these things before that ball is snapped on the previous play. So what happens? Guy stays in bounds. All right, puts his head down, said, "You know what? I'm going for it." Bad move on him. Okay, clock's running. Okay, and this is where it gets interesting. It was at 46 seconds. Clock was running. What do you do? Do you burn your last timeout? Uh, doo, 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 doo. 45 seconds. Me personally, I would burn that last timeout. Some people may disagree. I don't know. And the reason I say that is because I don't know if they had that scenario ready to go. Because if you look at it, watch how much time goes off the clock. It was at 46 seconds. We're rolling, we're rolling. Ball isn't snapped until, wow. He's looking at it, 33 seconds. Where we at? 46, 33. That's 13 seconds off the clock. You see this guy looking at Coach Silverfield like, hey, what we got going on? Ball is snapped at 32 seconds. So 14 seconds run off the clock. That's 2 plays. And in situations like this, 2 plays are going to be huge. 2 plays are going to be huge. So interesting coaching decision, but let's see how it pays off if they're going to end up needing that timeout a little bit later. Let's go ahead and get to it. So let's get to the next play, 3rd and 8. We're looking. Quarterback doesn't have an option, has to get out of bounds. It's 4th down, okay? 4th down, drops back, attacks the middle of the field because you know they're going to be covering the sidelines. I like that. Now, what is the move here? Clock stops, chain is going. East Carolina called timeout right here, gave them a little bone right here. I'm not sure why, but they did. Then you get to this play right here. This is what I showed earlier with Jamar Hawkins trying to get to the sideline. They couldn't get it done. And then you get to this situation, last play of the game, 3rd and 8, 6 seconds left, and you are at the 50-yard line. So you have to give your team the best shot possible when it comes to having a shot at the end zone. Does this guy have an arm for 50 yards to the end zone? I would assume yes. But I just look at it as the closer you can get, the better. Okay. I think if you have those 14 seconds back, you potentially have 2 more plays. Now, I get it. So many different things could have happened. They end up burning that last time out here. We can go ahead and see how this play pans out. But I think you get more shots at the end zone. And I would even say this. If you had 2 more plays, essentially, let's just say 1. Then you get 2 shots at the end zone instead of 1. So first play right here, he drops back, gets some pressure. Our guy, number 71, who's coming to Arkansas, wasn't able to hold up on that one. And then you get in this situation where time is out. I think for him being under pressure, not a bad throw because he had somebody all over him. If he's able to step into it, he gets to the end zone. I would love to have 2, if not 3, potential shots at the end zone at the end of the game right there. But very curious. I would love to talk to Coach Silverfield about the thought process of not taking that timeout right there when your guy didn't get out. I think it would have been different if 14 seconds didn't go off the clock, if they're able to run up and do something quick. Yes, I don't know. So many things happen. So I just had to bring that up as I was watching film on Jamar Hawkins. But don't forget, we got a lot of other players to get to. In the comments, like I said, so many guys coming in. I would love for y'all to let us know who you want us to get to first, okay? I think Jasper Parker, the running back out of Michigan, is an interesting one. Hunter Osborne, the defensive lineman, 6'4", 300, big dog, 4-star recruit out of Virginia. Is that Virginia Tech or Virginia? Y'all let me know. Yeah, I got a couple guys. A cornerback coming in, Jaheim Johnson. Let us know who you want us to do breakdowns on next, and we'll put those in order based off priority of what you want. Appreciate y'all for watching 4th and 5. If you like the content, always hit that subscribe button. It's very much appreciated. And stay tuned because we're about to be extremely busy because more and more guys are coming in. And I'm curious, too, up until this point with the guys we got coming in, what would you rate Silverfield's portal season so far this year? And I'll have that ranking from 1 to 10. Right now, me personally, it's hard because I don't really know what to compare it off of with what other teams are doing because there's really not a lot of other big actions except for that quarterback going to Texas Tech and they paid him $5 million. Insane. I'm going to do a breakdown on him, see if he's worth $5 million. I can't wait to see that one. I would give him a 5.5. Okay, still in the middle of the pack, not moving the needle much. That may change as I start doing more breakdowns, and I may see some guys where I'm just like, wow, okay, good get, good find. But we still got a long ways to go. Still got a lot more money to spend, a lot more people to get on our roster. So I'm curious about what you think. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you think Silverfield is doing in the portal season so far? Y'all have a great day. I appreciate y'all. Y'all stay tuned. More breakdowns to come.